Hello, everyone. Um, I just wanted to let you know I looked up um, the the posting for the Virginia rally that was posted on leagueofthesouth.com. This looks like the group that organized this protest, and I just wanted to read the um, the the flyer word for word, um, just to give you an idea of what they were planning on doing. So the League of the South will be participating in the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia on 12 August. Below is the initial announcement of the event. I want an excellent turnout of Southern nationalists for this event. Antifa, BLM, et al. Will be there to greet us. Don't miss out on the fun. Michael Hill. I guess Michael Hill is the guy who organized the event. Unite the Right, August 12th, Charlottesville, Lee Park. In response to the alt-right's peaceful demonstration in support of the Lee Monument on May 13th, the city of Charlottesville and roving mobs of Antifa have cracked down on the First Amendment rights of conservatives and right-wing activists. They have threatened our families, harassed our employers, and tried to drive us from public spaces with threats of intimidation. We are not afraid. You will not divide us. This is an event which seeks to unify the right wing against a totalitarian communist crackdown. Correction. To speak out against displacement level immigration politics in the United States and Europe, and to affirm the rights of Southerners and white people to organize for their interests just like any other group is able to do so, free of persecution. And then they have the date and the time, August 12th at 12 p.m. At Lee Park in Charlottesville, Virginia. And that says what? This is a Unite the Right event bringing together the alt-right with the alt-light and Confederate supporters around the country. We're demonstrating in support of the Robert E. Lee statue, the right of white people to organize for our interests, and to show that we will not be intimidated by harassment campaigns of the left. And then they have the list of speakers that are planning on showing up to this event. My reaction to this League of the South flyer, it seems like these guys are like they're white nationalists. They sound like, just based on the flyer, it seems like they're the response to identity politics, only for white people. Of course, I think most people who are against Black Lives Matter would be against these people too. It just seems that if you have your race as your identifier, it's not something that most people want to be associated with. They think that should be a non-factor. I mean, of course, these groups were not prevalent at all until we got Black Lives Matter style identity politics popping up. This little segment, this 1 minute and 20 seconds so far, was something I recorded after my main recording, and I just wanted to go put this after. Put this in before my main recording as an initial intro. Anyways, please enjoy the rest of my recording. Hello, everyone. These are some thoughts on the Virginia Charlottesville rally that's in the news lately that I saw. And I recorded something a bit earlier, but that was before I looked into it. Was just, I saw one headline and I recorded some thoughts I had on it, but after looking into it a bit more, I had some more thoughts on it that I wanted to include. I heard from some of the news channels that Antifa and Black Lives Matter were involved in the counter protests. The initial rally was a protest to a statue being taken down. I read somewhere. I'm not sure if that's entirely true. But to counter protest, Antifa and Black Lives Matter were involved. I'm not sure what other groups were involved. But if those two groups are involved, there's going to be something that happens, because those two groups love controversy, and it seems they love violence as well, or violence just happens to follow them around. Now, I don't know who. Apparently, there were two major incidents that happened. A car blew through a crowd, and I saw the video on that, and I'll describe that a bit. There was a line of cars. There were some cars exiting what looked like an alleyway with people not necessarily blocking the alleyway, but they were very tight against the cars, and I'm not sure if they were yelling into the cars. But there was a third car. It was a gray Challenger with Ohio plates that was coming through behind the first two cars, and it looked like it hit the car in front of it, and then it was slightly to the right, about to come out of the alleyway, and there is where it hit people, it seemed, and one person died. The report said one person died, 19 injured so far. And then I saw another video where they have the video of the car backing up, and its front end is all messed up. I don't know who was in the car. I don't know if it was. I've heard people say it was the white supremacist side, and I've heard other people say it was a Bernie supporter and a globalist. And I'm not sure if those are one and the same or not. Meaning the Bernie supporter and the globalist. I'm not sure if they're one and the same. But the globalist is kind of a joke a bit. But regardless, I've also seen the reports that I've seen the videos that this protest wasn't going peacefully beforehand, before that happened either. Oh, and the second major event, before I go too far off topic, the second major event was, right now they're reporting a helicopter has crashed and killed 2 police officers. So the death toll is at 3 from this rally. And I don't know, and some of the reports that have come out so far say that the helicopter crash is somehow linked to the rally. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how a helicopter that went down in the woods is linked to the rally, unless they launched the helicopter in response to getting people out of where the rally was taking place. But I don't see how that's anybody at the rally's fault. But I digress. The rally turned violent, and I think it's because you have these two groups who are willing to be violent. And I don't know if these people in the alt-right, and from what I've seen, the people who are willing to be violent on the right are way smaller in number. Who are actually not necessarily who are willing to be violent, because let me put a caveat there. If someone from either Antifa or Black Lives Matter is violent with you, and you're defending yourself, or you are prepared to defend yourself, it doesn't necessarily mean you're a violent person. But there could be, and definitely people who are on the right who are looking for violence, and especially at stuff like this. This was going to be bad from the start, and it was bad from the start. And when you have these two groups who are these 2 or 3 groups prone to violence, it just seems that it's going to be inevitable. Okay, so on to initially what I think about this. It seems that in the past, when stuff like this happened, we would just let the people do their stuff. You'd let whatever group was rallying, just go ahead and rally. Let them yell for a bit, and then they go home. And now it seems that like everybody's got to stick their nose in with someone they disagree with, and get their social brownie points for saying how much against the other side you are. Because it seems that that's what gets you recognition today. And it seems that both of these sides, those sides that are willing to immediately escalate the violence, are the ones hurting discourse nowadays. They have no problem just immediately picking up a bat. And I don't know how we de-escalate at this point. Especially when neither side is really willing to listen to the other side. It's like we have these two extremes just running the front lines of both of these protests, and whatever chaos ensues, that side gets blamed. Or definitely, I mean, it's definitely usually the right side that gets blamed, because, you know, Antifa can do no wrong according to the media. But I mean, not according to the internet. The internet hates Antifa and Black Lives Matter. They hate them, and for good reason. And but not to give the right-wing assholes a free pass either. Neither of these groups are good. I've heard that like some groups are put like on a terrorist watch list or some sort of list. I think all of the above groups, whatever right-wing group is prone to violence, needs to be on that list, and these left-wing groups, especially Antifa and especially Black Lives Matter. These groups are we always see violence come out of these groups. And it's just crazy that we ignore. I mean, I don't think people necessarily ignore it, especially not people on the ground, especially not people on the internet. They don't ignore it, but our government leaders ignore them, and that has to stop. We need to get the police crackdown. These people, especially the people who are trying to peacefully protest. There needs to be lines drawn when it comes to some of these protests. It seems that it just immediately devolves into anarchy as soon as there's any clashing. It's like as soon as there's clash, police are hands off and it's a free for all. And they need to get the riot gear out a bit quicker, especially when they see people wearing masks. These people wearing masks, you know there's going to be trouble. And I'm not trying to say that every time someone wears a mask they're definitely looking to be violent, but there's a reason that they're trying to hide their face at a rally. And I'm not trying to fault the police at all for the work they do. I'm sure it's very, very difficult. There's crowd control, I'm sure, is a science. But I just, maybe this is wishful thinking on my part to have the police handle everything. But it seems like something better needs to happen at these rallies. It can't just be a free-for-all with bricks flying and tear gas and all this stuff with people just looking to hit people. Because if it was a person by themselves doing that, they would go to jail immediately. And just because you do it in a mob doesn't make it any better.